No surprise, it's been a very high volume week for NVIDIA as earnings came out on Wednesday. To talk about where the stock is now and where it's headed is MarketBeat analyst Thomas Hughes. Thomas, there's been a lot of movement on NVIDIA ever since that report came out.
Yeah, it's been a pretty volatile reaction, I would say. The market's having a hard time deciding if it's a good or a bad report. I think it was a very, very good report given the growth and the cash flow and the outlook for sales. So right now we're down a little bit from the highs on Wednesday when they reported earnings, still above critical support levels. That's the previous all-time highs. The volume is rising on a day-to-day basis and for the last few weeks. We are still also below a critical resistance point, so we might see a little bit more sidewinding over the next few weeks. But the outlook is positive. The analyst trend is positive, so I would expect to see all-time highs again pretty soon.
Yeah, I know you said before that this is the best report you've seen in 2 years from NVIDIA, and that if there is a dip, which is kind of what we're seeing right now, at least sideways movement, it would be pretty short lived. Why
Right.
do you think this is going to be such a short lived pullback?
The last few years have shown that NVIDIA's position in technology has changed. It's not just a stock for video games anymore. It is now central to the technology infrastructure because technology is now based on AI. And when it comes to AI, NVIDIA is the first mover, it's the industry leader, not only with its chips, but with its CUDA infrastructure, because without CUDA, you can't really use those chips to do anything. And now with Blackwell coming out, those GPUs are really being made to be AI specific. So it's really going to improve the technology. I expect to see more improvements over the next few years. There's going to be really big, major advances coming fairly regularly, I would believe, and NVIDIA is central to all of that.
Absolutely. The big part of this report is talking about how much demand there is for Blackwell, and that Blackwell will be actually hitting the market in 2025.
Right.
So let's talk about what that means for this stock moving forward and why Blackwell is in such high demand.
So Blackwell's in demand because it's better. It's better than the previous iterations and it's better than a lot of the competition. So it provides improved performance for AI, specifically with training and inference. Now, inference is critical because that's the leap from just reading data to making decisions. That's where the AI really comes into play.
Now, you mentioned some features about Blackwell that are so much better. Again, this next generation is something people are excited for. What are some features that have companies already investing in upgrading their AI tech?
Well, a lot of it's centered on the high bandwidth memory. It's a new architecture for memory where Micron technology is a leader. But what it does is allow for faster computing, higher performance computing, while also helping to control temperatures. Temperatures are really important because of the power usage and the cost for the data centers to operate them.
And it seems like every big AI giant out there is investing in those data centers right now. Let's talk about customers. Who are some of the biggest customers for these Blackwell chips?
All right, so there's a number of customers that kind of fit into two or three different categories. The number one are the cloud hyperscalers. You've got Microsoft, AWS, and Google, including Oracle to a lesser degree, who command 95% of the cloud market. All of these companies already have Blackwell in use, and the word on the street is that they're using them to build their most advanced superclusters. Meta's using them to build a super advanced cluster, and Oracle is using it to build the OCI supercluster, which is going to be the first Zeta scale supercluster. It's going to use 130,000 GPUs in one cluster. That's a large amount of GPUs and quite a bit of revenue for NVIDIA, especially considering over the next few years the upgrade cycle that's going to come about with the next iterations of these chips.
So that's a lot of positive outlook for NVIDIA, but let's talk about any potential risks for this stock.
So there is some concern that the revenue will contract or compress in the future. We're not sure when that's going to happen, but eventually there'll be some market normalization. Right now, there's a rush to kind of get ahead of the curve. Once the industry normalizes, revenue might pull back a little bit, but even so, we're going to be looking at a company that's 8, 9, 10 times bigger than it was before the AI revolutions kicked off. So the big question right now, though, is the cash. This company is generating so much cash, it's ridiculous. Its cash balance doubled over the last year. Its net cash versus total liability. It's in such a strong position to provide capital returns. The only question is when. So right now, what I'm thinking is that this company is probably going to ride its momentum on its revenue momentum until the stock price really begins to top out. And then I would expect to see some pretty aggressive capital returns, including special dividends, dividend increases, and aggressive share repurchases.
What are analysts saying about the returns the stock could have just in the next year?
Right. So the analyst response to the news was pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of market pundits kind of poo-pooing it and calling it a bad report and kind of clouding the future. But the analysts are across the board raising their price targets. They're leading to the high end range of their target range, which puts the stock at 200 or higher, which is a $50 or about a 35% increase over the next 12 months. Based on the business trends, I would expect the analyst trends to continue, so that high end will continue to rise over the next 12 months, and a move to 200 may just be the tip of the next iceberg.
So there's still plenty of room for this stock to grow, but a lot of people are questioning, when will NVIDIA's competitors start to catch up?
Right, so the competitors are working really hard right now, and the closest competitor is AMD. They're still a ways behind because NVIDIA has so many years of advanced work on their infrastructure, but AMD is really catching up. Now, the opportunity right now is that demand for NVIDIA chips outpaces their ability to produce them. So if AMD is able to get their production going, there's an opportunity for them to start selling chips to people that just can't wait long enough to get the NVIDIA chips.
All right, Thomas, thank you so much for this in-depth analysis of NVIDIA earnings and where the stock could go in 2025. Thank you for joining us. Check out our other videos on NVIDIA and other stocks right here on MarketBeat. As always, happy investing.